Okay, we're going to start sitting, which is either on some height or on a chair. For those of you that don't get up and down too easily, just make yourself comfortable to start with. And sit in whatever manner your body feels happiest in, but in such a way that you can lift your spine up. That's why we sit on a lift, because it allows us to raise the spine up tall and release the hips. So sit tall. And if you're on a chair, your feet are flat on the floor, or if the chair is too high for you, put some blocks or some books under your feet so that you feel completely comfortable and you can sit tall. Take a breath in and out. Relax your face, relax your jaw, and let your breathing settle. So this moment is about drawing the scattered energy that's involved in our day-to-day life into the body, into the brain, so that we can observe what's going on. Observation is a key factor in yoga. And then we're going to close our eyes for a second, bring the palms of our hands together. Now, little bête noire of mine, don't allow that action to disturb your upper arm. Hands back on your knees again. Your hands back on your knees. When you bring your palms together, do it so that you don't disturb your upper arms. And you'll find that your shoulders don't change, nothing changes. You keep that lift of the spine, the shoulders stay relaxed, the palms come together. Sometimes we pull the fingers towards us, we push the elbows forwards. All these are unnecessary and they create strain across the front chest. So we keep the arms long, palms softly together, fingers pointing away from the chest, not up to the sky. Otherwise you can feel that tension in your wrist, can't you, when you try that? Let the wrists be relaxed. And take 1 or 2 breaths in and out. And then on an exhalation, release your hands down, open your eyes, and stretch your legs forwards. Undo the cross if you're sitting on the floor. And come up to standing. Now, for the practice today, you're going to need a chair, like a dining room chair. If you have a look at this one, it's got no side arms. It's got a backrest and a seat. So that kind of chair. And either a cloth or a belt or a tie, something you can hold on to behind your back or over your head, wherever. But a piece of fabric, cloth, towel, pillowcase, tie, something like that. And let's start with standing. Tadasana, mountain pose. Bring your feet together. Now, if you're one of those people that sits rather than stands, got balance issues, you can do most of this class on a chair. So we're all bringing our feet together, bringing the inner feet together, pressing the outer heels down, lift the kneecaps. That can be very challenging at first. Roll the shoulders back and stretch your arms down. Now they're not clamped to your sides, they're slightly away from the body so that you can feel the lift of the sides of the body and the extension of the arms downwards. Those two things are interlinked. If you shrink the arms upwards, you'll feel the chest drop. So send the arms down and lift the chest up. Take your arms up and out to the side. Stretch your fingers away from you. Suck the triceps, that's this, the bingo wings. Suck that up towards the arm bone. Keep your shoulders down and turn your palms towards the ceiling. Raise your arms up just as far as you feel comfortable. lift your abdomen. And then on an exhalation, so inhale and then exhale, bring your arms down. And let that go. We're going to do that once more. Our plan for this month is to build on these classes. So if you watch this recording tomorrow, we follow Rachel's and then mine and then Rachel's again, you should find that these develop, and working on them again, you're building on the basic blocks with each class. So press the balls of the big toes into the floor, outer heels down. Lift your kneecaps up and tighten your strong thigh muscles. Roll your shoulders back and stretch your arms, simultaneously lifting the sides of your chest. Raise the arms to shoulder height. Stretch, make them feel thin, really thin and long. Turn your palms to the ceiling, shoulders down, shoulders down, shoulders down. Raise the arms up. Now, if you're stiff in the shoulders, you might find you're only raising a little height. But if you can bring your arms up to the vertical, you can do that. So different levels, different ages and stages and conditions. Slowly bring your arms back down again. Stretch your fingers towards the floor and then release. Good. Now I'm going to get the belt. And once more, we'll do as Rachel did yesterday. Now, if you have balance issues, low back issues, do these standing poses with your feet apart. And you need to give yourself enough rope that you can raise your arms up and keep your shoulders down. So that might be quite wide, but if you're gripping your piece of cloth, your belt, you can feel that the trapezius muscle stays down as you raise your arms up. Those of you who've got the camera off, do turn it on if you want me to help you with any issues. So you're going to take the belt, extend the arms, raise the arms, and lift your knuckles towards the ceiling. Open your armpits, lengthen your lower back, thighs back, outer heels down. Lift your chest, and then bring your arms down again, and release. Can you feel that rush of energy to the arms and shoulders? It really raises your game, doesn't it? Now I'm going to do this behind the back. So take your cloth and hold it with your knuckles facing the wall behind you. So you're not holding it with the palm, you're holding it with the knuckles facing the wall behind you. Lift your chest, roll your shoulders back. Now stretch the strap or the cloth towards the floor and then raise the arms up slightly. Hold that there. Take a good breath in and really lift and open the top chest. Roll the shoulders back. You'll feel it in order to do that. You've got to move the back ribs in. Shoulder blades are down. There are so many moving parts in the shoulder girdle. Then release. So many moving parts. We have to be able to be aware of what's happening simultaneously with all of them. So once more, stretch your knuckles towards the floor. Notice how that rolls the outer upper arm and the shoulder back. Inhale as you take your arms up. And exhale as you bring them down. And then do that once more. Make the legs very firm. Take the tailbone forward, lift the chest, stretch your arms, inhale, and raise your knuckles up behind you. Exhale, bring the arms down and let the whole thing go. So let all of the muscles, tendons, joints in the shoulder girdle release completely. Half Uttanasana. So we'll hamstrings, the legs. Depending on your capacity, you can have a surface to put your hands down onto. Kitchen worktop is a perfect height for this. Or you can put your hands into the wall. You can even do this to a chair, like this. But what you want to get is vertical legs. So if you're to the wall, you walk to the wall, put your hands into the wall at hip height, walk yourself back, look down at your feet, have them hip width apart, and then stretch your hips back, extend your legs up. So it's that simultaneous action of legs back, hips up. Take your upper back down. Look forward slightly with your eyes. Good. Then walk towards your hands. Come back up to standing again. Those of you with back issues, that last instruction is really critical. I said walk towards your hands. So we start close to our surface and we walk away. That allows the back to stretch in its own time. If what you do then to come up is shove yourself off the wall and stand up, you're using your lower back muscles to complete that action, and that's a no-no. So, close to the wall, walk away, vertical legs, grip the hips and stretch them back, lift the abdomen up to lengthen the lumbar, and then walk towards your hands to come up to standing. Use your legs to raise your trunk up, not your lower back muscles. All right? Next one. That's out of the way. If you have balance issues, you can have your chair in front of you so that you've got the back of the chair close to you to hold on to. And we're going to do some more work on Utthita Hasta Padasana, which is learning to take the legs wide. The thing that's come up most often with all of the questions and comments that we've had, and it's been fantastic, so thank you all very much, is balance. Balance is a real issue. And one thing we have to learn to start with is to fully extend the legs and build up their core strength. So we start with standing poses and we start to understand the way the legs work. So take your feet apart and put your hands on your hips or hold onto your chair. Now look down at your feet, left foot, right foot. You should have the outer edges of your foot parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Now, if your toes are closer to the outer edges of the mat than your heels, then you need to lift up your toes and pivot on your heels and bring your toes in. And you'll notice that completely changes the action in your thighs. If you're already there and you don't know what I'm talking about, then try it. Take your toes out, feel that, and then bring your toes in. Observation, it's what I said right at the beginning. We need to observe. Okay, so then press your outer heels down. That completely changes the action as well, doesn't it? You can really feel the inner thighs lifting, and you're beginning to feel that lift for the whole of the abdomen as the trunk extends up. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Remember the arm work. All these things we learn to do simultaneously without having to build one on top of the other. And then I want you to heel and toe your feet together and come back to standing. Okay, now I'm going to take that a stage further. Step your feet apart. Your feet are parallel. Now you're going to turn your right leg out. You can hold on to your chair, turn your right leg out. Now, when you look at your left foot, that's still parallel to the back edge of your mat. Your right inner foot is parallel to the long edge of your mat. It's not half turned, but it's absolutely parallel. Okay, now what's happened to the back leg? The outer outer edge of the knee there on the left leg, roll that back and lift the right thigh up. You feel the strength building? Bring your feet back to the center. Let's try that on the other side. Turn the left foot out, straighten the leg, and then pull the outer edge of the right knee back and lift the left thigh up. Can you feel that stability coming in your legs? Turn the feet in and then heel and toe your feet together. Come back to standing. Now, why is that important? Let's do Trikonasana and you'll see. So for those of you with balance issues, to do Trikonasana, you might find you're better with the chair to the side. Let me show on the right where we're going to go first. All right. You're going to step your feet wide, everyone. You're going to turn your feet to the right. Then you're going to pull back with the outer left knee. Stretch your right arm, stretch them both if you like, and extend over and down. So if you've got balance issues, you take your hand to the chair. If you're comfortable with all that, keep the eyes in the back of your head on that outer left knee and go a little further. It might be shin, ankle, wherever. Outer left knee, why is that important? It's because we need stability. We need to create a firm base from which to move the trunk. Got that? So if the legs are at all wobbly, we can't do these movements with the trunk. Bring your feet back to the center and your hands onto your waist. Let's try the other side. So as you turn your left foot out, keep the eyes in the back of your head on your outer right knee. Stretch your arms. As you move into the pose, outer right knee, outer right knee. Make that your focus. Bring your left hand down, take your right arm up. And then inhale as you exhale, come up. Turn your feet to the front and step your legs together. So Trikonasana is a very simple pose where both legs stay straight. The next pose that we'll do, Virabhadrasana 2, the warrior pose, the front leg bends. So there's even more activity going on. So it's even more important that the back leg retains that level of stability. Take your feet wide. If you're working with a chair, for this one, you can have the chair in front of you. Take your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. You can hold on to the chair or put your hands on your hips. So having turned your feet to the right, outer left knee back, right thigh up. Now, keep the outer left knee back and bend the right knee. Outer left knee back, bend the right knee. How low can you go? The chair's very useful for this if you want to go a little bit lower. And then come up. We're going to do it again on that side. Outer left knee back, grip from ankle to hip and bend the right knee. So you can feel that the stability of this pose is coming from the back leg. Grip, come back up, turn your feet to the front. Stay with the legs wide for a moment, pressing the thighs back, keep the chest up, don't drop the abdomen down, keep it all lifting up, and then turn your feet to the left. So you're turning the left leg completely out, but the stability of the right leg, outer knee back as you bend the left knee. Stretch, come up, the chest lifting, once more bend, stretch. So we're making a very big, wide gap between the tops of the thighs there. And come up, turn your feet to the front and step your legs together. Now come back into Tadasana. So it's either feet hip width, and you've got the chair if you need it there for balance, or you're going to bring your feet together Think about the outer knees on both legs now. And think about the front thighs on both legs. So outer knees back, front thighs lifting. Can you feel that grip beginning to develop? Stretch the arms down, lift the side chest up. Inhale as you exhale, release. Good. Well done, everyone. Dog pose. You know, you think of yoga, you see Trikonasana, Virabhadrasana, to those two poses we've just done, and you also see dog pose. So we're going to try this in a number of ways, depending on your condition. You can have a chair, and you can grip the chair and stretch back to whatever degree you feel comfortable. It's a bit like the forward bend we did earlier, except the feet are not vertical. You can do to the floor. For those of you that are comfortable with that, hands down, knees back, tuck your toes, and come up into the pose. Come on, your turn. And what I want you to do is to go in and out of the pose 2 or 3 times. So come down onto your knees. Now, make sure that your hands are a little bit further forward than your shoulders and your knees are a little bit further back than your hips, and have another go. Not too far, because your mat will tell you where you need to be. But try that. Remember, the grip of the outer knees and the lift of the front thighs. The legs need to anchor us. Good, that's looking great. So 2 or 3 times, and then sit wherever you are comfortable. But if you've got a chair, all of you might take a chair for this one. We'll do chair Virabhadrasana. Going to do a little twist. All right. I'm going to show sitting on the chair to the front, because you've all got different chairs, and with the yoga chair, you can do all kinds of magic for things. But we're going to work like this. We're going to sit facing forwards. And in fact, I'll show from the side. And you need to be perched on your chair, because I want to take those, even though our knees are bent, I want to take that little point about the outer knee into this pose as well. So just have a look. We're going to do a twist like that. So we're going to keep the legs together, keep the hips square to the chair, but then turn the body. Okay? Give that a go. You're going to turn to your right. You're going to bring your left hand over your right knee, your right hand onto the chair behind you, or wherever it will go comfortably. Push and pull with the arms slightly. Lift the chest, shoulders square, turning to the right. Take a breath in and out, and then come back to the center. Pause there, because you'll feel the energy spiraling. And then turn to the left. So right hand, turning to the right. And then come back to the center. Now, I'm going to do that again, but this time, as you turn, look at your knees and see, as you turn to the right, is the left knee shooting forwards? You've lost the outer chip of the left knee, haven't you? So come back to the center, bring your feet together, look at your knees and think, right, I've got to keep the outer chip of my left knee back, just like I did in the standing poses. Keeping that back, now can I turn to the right? And you'll begin to notice that the pelvis stays level with the hips, but the turn is now coming from the trunk and the spine. Instead of just swiveling the hips on the chair, we're now limiting the area of movement to the spine where it should be. Try the other side. So this time, look down at your knees. Outer right knee back as you turn to the left. Outer right knee back as you turn to the left. Inhale, exhale, come back to the center. Okay. We're going to do a little bit of recuperative work today, because I wanted to mention that. All of you are going to be working quite hard over the next, where are we now? 29 days, 28 days. Actually, it's longer because we're still in May. And one of the things you need to assess is at what point you need to do some recuperative work. You'll have days when it doesn't work out, you miss your moment, or life gets in the way, but you can still do, even lying in your bed, you can still do a couple of poses. Now, for those of you that are just using chairs, I'll show you what to do in a moment. You can hang on there. For those of you that are happy to get up and down off the floor, we're going to do Supta Baddha Konasana and then go into Shavasana. So, if you've got some cushions or a bolster or a folded blanket or some yoga blocks, put those down on your mat and put a folded blanket over the top of your head. So this is the sort of shape you want. You want the mat, then you want step one, a nice long step for your spine, step two for your head. All right? Now you can do this without anything at all. Don't feel you have to have any props. You can do this just lying on your bed at night. And this is why I was thinking this could be useful. So at that point then, you sit down on the mat and you roll yourself down over your lift. You bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out wide. Now, for some of you, that's going to be difficult for your groins. So you may want a couple of cushions for your thighs. All right? Something to rest your legs on. So take a few moments to get properly set up and then lie yourself down. So you need to roll the outer feet under, and if your thighs feel tight, and you can't find anything to relieve that, then simply work with bent legs and feet flat on the floor. But just for a moment, see if you can get soles of your feet to join. Doesn't matter how close or how far away they are. And for those of you sitting on chairs, you move yourself right back into the chair and bring the backs of your hands to rest on your thighs. Everybody close your eyes. If you're of an anxious nature or you find you're writing shopping lists in your head, you can have your eyes slightly open, but keep the gaze very soft focused. You're not looking at the ceiling. You're just staring into the distance. Now, relax your face, everyone. Take the tongue away from the roof of your mouth. When you've done that, take a good breath in and out. And release your lungs. Recuperation is an important part of yoga practice. We have to allow the body to assimilate the actions and to draw that energy that we've created through releasing the muscles, the tissues, the fascia, to draw that energy deep into the cells. That's not going to happen if the first thing you do after a strong yoga practice is jump up and rush out. Your energy is needed then for the brain, the limbs, for the rushing. So you take these moments to really absorb the effort that you've just put in and not waste it. Now, when you're ready to, and these classes are quite short, but in a normal class, we might hold a pose like this for 4 or 5 minutes. That you can do in your own time. But when you're ready to, bring your knees up and have your feet flat on the floor with your feet apart, a comfortable distance from your hips. So stay with knees bent. Good back care, first aid. And then again, when you're ready to, you roll over. You don't sit straight up. You roll over and push yourself up to sitting. And then finally, we're going to look at the structure of Shavasana. People think it's just lying down, isn't it? It's just lying down. Actually, no. Now, those of you that who tend to throw your head forward, if when you lie flat, you find your chin is pushed up to the ceiling, you need a height for your head to absorb that gap so that your head can stay straight in line with the spine. If you're not using a lift, or if you are, your lift is behind you, you're going to sit in the middle of your mat with your legs bent and your feet at one end. And again, this is back care. You're going to be doing this a lot over the next month. Whoever's classes you're in, do not go into lying down with your legs straight, because as I said at the beginning, that puts all the strain on the lumbar spine. So you sit in the middle of the mat, your feet are at one end. As you roll down, give a little push. That's very nice for your shoulder blades. Then you simply straighten your legs and let your feet fall apart and your arms release down. If your lower back is still troubling you, bend your knees, just like we did at the end of the last posture. Feet slightly wider than hips, and this helps to open up the lower back and soften the lumbar spine. So those are your options, there and there for Shavasana. And as ever, if you want to know, try it out. Find out what works for you. Observe. Once you've settled, then take an inhalation, exhalation. And let your body sink into the floor. Let the weight of your body release completely. So head, shoulders, backs of the arms and hands, your hips, your thighs, your calves spreading on the mat. Feet falling left to the left and right to the right. So what's happening now is the breath is able to percolate right through the body with no obstruction. And the release of the muscles in Shavasana and other recuperative poses also helps to minimize those feelings of strain that you can get afterwards. If you have time today, you could stay in Shavasana a little longer. I'm going to finish the class now. So stay there if you're happy, but I'll see you again soon. I'm teaching again on Thursday and Rachel's teaching on Friday. So well done you all. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.